The following program is intended for the health and wellness of Palm Beach County Fire Rescue firefighters and paramedics. The advice and information contained in this programming may not be appropriate for all individuals. The producers, employees, company, affiliates, or other parties involved in the creation or promotion are not responsible for any injuries or health conditions that may result from the advice represented. This information is not a replacement for medical advice. You should consult a physician before starting any diet or exercise program. Viewer discretion is advised.
The first exercise that we'll do is something that you typically see people do, a sit-up or a crunch. But many times they're done without that proper core activation. So it hasn't been introduced until this point in time. This involves flexion of the trunk, which could be problematic unless someone has good core control. So a couple of ways of doing the crunches. One, let's bend your knees, John. Feet flat. This is called a hook lying position. John can put his hands in the front of his thighs and simply curl up and reach and then back down. Yep, you can come all the way up is fine with me. And back down. He can do this with his hands behind his head. And if he prefers, he can do it through a shorter range. Just do a typical crunch, don't come all the way up. Just like that. Again, you're creating movement, a flexion across the lower lumbar area, but he has great core control to stabilize that motion and protect his low back. This exercise can also be done lying on a ball. Let me show that. Come on up, John. So what John can do is he can lie on a ball, place his back on the ball, hands behind the head, feet are flat, a little wider so he has support. This allows him to arch his back a little bit more through the normal range of motion. And now just do a half crunch. Come on up. That is typically adequate for activating the abdominal muscles, and he can do a series of those, or he can come all the way up, as you see there. You can even get more fancy and do obliques. You can come into rotation, pulling towards this knee first, and then down, and then the opposite side. Working on those diagonals and stressing the rotators that create stability through the trunk as well. Come on up nice and easily. Let's get you back on your back. Going back onto the back, let's have you put your legs down straight. Hands behind your head, just like that. Good. Legs straight. Let's have you bend your knees and bring your legs up into a tabletop position. So we'll have John start here. These are going to be straight leg raises again. His arms or his hands are placed behind his head. That creates much more instability with respect to performing this exercise. He's going to put his legs out straight. I want him to maintain activation of his core. With an exhale, bring his legs all the way down and come back up. Inhale and exhale. And inhale. That is a very challenging core exercise to do. Come on back down. Good. Okay. The next exercise that John is going to do is a very challenging rotational exercise. He's going to get into a semi-plank position. He's not going to be on his elbows, he's going to be on his hands, and we're going to introduce some rotation. His hands are going to be just inside of his shoulders. So you have they're a little bit closer together than normal. Let's have you come out onto your toes. Good. So this is the starting position here. John is going to hold this position very stable. Take this hand off the floor. Good. Now thread it underneath here, reaching, and then rotate out towards me. Good, and then rotate out towards me. Come this way. Yep. Exhale up. Good. And inhale underneath. And exhale. And one more. And exhale. And back down. And take a break. So that would be a plank and rotation. Much more challenging, as John can tell you, but it involves a movement pattern that now is activating the rotators while the core is stabilized in this very challenging position. Let's try the other side. And his breathing is important. So breathe, yep. Exhale and inhale. So he's exhaling to activate the core muscles as strongly as possible as he moves through range. And relax. Good. You can come on back down. Okay. Next exercise is a functional exercise, a variation on the theme of performing a squat. This is more advanced than what Michael was doing at the intermediate phase, simply because John is going to be lifting a weight, something similar to what he might be doing in the field. And again, doing this repetitively and creating the movement patterns that become habit can greatly influence your ability to prevent a spine injury in the field. So what John is going to do here is he's going to do a good squat, but he's lifting a weight that is in the front of his body and between his legs. Something similar to what he might be doing in the field. Notice that we don't have a barbell on his shoulders. We have it forward of his body to mimic more of a functional movement pattern. And this is performed maybe 20 times. Good core activation, good squat technique. Okay. Yeah. The next exercise that John is going to perform is called choppers. Again, this is to mimic more of a functional movement pattern layered over the core activation that John has worked on through the beginner and intermediate phases. He's going to actually be moving in a diagonal movement pattern using a medicine ball. Is a combination of a squat and a rotation here. So we call these choppers. He's bringing the ball to the outside of his knee and then up above his head. Notice his chest is upright. His back is remaining very straight, and he's performing a squatting maneuver. Same thing in this direction. And the breathing pattern is exhale, inhale down. Exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up, inhale down. Other side one more time. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. One more. Exhale, inhale. Perfect. The last exercise that John is going to do in this series is called a Russian twist. It's a combination of a lunge and a rotation, and he's using the medicine ball to create some resistance for this exercise. He is going to lunge out and rotate over his outgoing leg, just like that. Chest is lifted, it's a perfect lunge, and he's exhaling there, inhaling when he comes back. Exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling. Perfect.